My Plan Essay, 2025. I am not entirely sure yet what I want to do in my life, but I have some thoughts and ideas. As far as short-term goals go, I have applied to 2 colleges, University of Oregon and Portland State University. I intend to go to college for 4 years and get a bachelor's degree. I don't know what my major will be yet, but I'm thinking maybe geography. I like city planning and public transportation, and that could end up being a good fit. With Portland State being right downtown, I would be nice and close to the transit department. A more long-term goal would be to get into logistics or some other department with the transit agency where I could plan and propose routes. I have already visited the TriMet office in Portland and met with a few people in the departments I am interested in. I've always been interested in public transit because I love traveling and seeing things along the way. I got interested in it way back when I was 4. One of the main reasons I was particularly interested in public transit was because I wasn't old enough to drive, and I didn't like being a passenger in the car because I couldn't dictate the route, which I always like to do. I like to do different routes so I can see new things. Taking public transportation allowed me to pick the routes, and to this day, I have fun trying different ways to get to the same destinations. I also have a fondness for riding trains in particular, since they travel off-road and you often see better things than you would on a road. A common experience I have with transit, especially in Portland, is that it often gets delayed or for various reasons, which can make it difficult to get somewhere at a certain time. On top of that, it often takes a lot longer than driving because it makes frequent stops or travels long distances on surface streets as opposed to freeways. Many cities larger than Portland have a handful of bus lines that travel long distances on the freeway without stopping, but they are almost non-existent in Portland. And even the ones we have in Portland only run during peak traffic times when traffic is at its heaviest. Lastly, depending on someone's destination, they may have to transfer a few times to other buses along the way, which adds time but also gets risky if a connection is tight. Because of how much longer transit can take, many people choose to drive everywhere, even if they live close to transit. Not only is driving risky as far as getting into an accident goes, but unless you have an electric car, it's terrible for the environment. With climate change getting worse every day, we have to do everything we can to fight against it, and taking public transportation over personal vehicles is just one of many things we can do to minimize climate change. I'd love to improve Portland's transportation system to the point where more people want to take it because it's faster than driving, like in larger cities. I have an incredible memory which could be useful if working on a job where I'm planning things. I'm also good at arguing on behalf of a point I want to make, which could be especially useful for trying to convince people to improve transit. I have contributed a lot to my time at Metropolitan Learning Center in the 7 years I have been there. When I first got there in 6th grade, I was a little nervous about adjusting to a new school. But given how much I disliked my elementary school, I learned to like MLC pretty quickly. I was extremely nervous the first month because of outdoor school, but once that was over, I really started to find my way around. Because I knew so much about public transit, once people figured this out, I was often the default person anyone asked if they needed directions on how to get somewhere. In fact, people outside of school, like my grandparents' friends, also asked me for directions on public transit. By 7th grade, I had made a lot more friends and also knew most of the teachers. I helped out in many classrooms and even provided inspirations for new electives. When the pandemic happened and school went online, I still met with teachers and answered questions as needed. When I returned to in-person school as a 9th grader, I started to do the things I used to do as far as helping people and contributing, but it was hard recovering from the pandemic. Since then, up to now, I have made it my mission to get MLC back to the way it was before COVID, and although I haven't succeeded entirely, there have definitely been improvements. In 11th grade, I had the opportunity to teach electives myself, which was extremely fun but also allowed me to reunite with old friends from before the pandemic that I had a hard time seeing in 9th and 10th grade because our schedules were so different. The first elective I taught was one about card games. 5 kids got to see me every Tuesday afternoon and learn a new card game each time. It was a great opportunity for them to have fun at the end of a long day of work, and it also allowed me to relax and have some fun alongside them. The second elective I taught was Walk and Talk, which has been an all-time MLC favorite since way before I got there. I had taken it many times myself, but never had the chance to lead it until now. I got most of my best friends to sign up, and every week I took them on my favorite walks around the neighborhood. I would talk with them for nearly an hour each time, and took some amazing pictures. Everyone had a chance to get exercise and chat at the end of the day, and it was in the spring, so the weather was perfect. All of these experiences were amazing, and I'm really going to miss being at MLC for many reasons, but I'll especially miss my friends. However, I intend to go to college close to home, which means I can hopefully go visit MLC every once in a while and help out, of course, and see my friends. In fact, I am very determined at this point to make that happen. Being born with Asperger's, I have often had trouble with social interaction. There are many reasons why, but the main reasons are that I often become so interested in a topic that I can go on about it endlessly without allowing the other person to talk, or I don't express any interest in what they want to talk about. I also have a tendency to look at life situations very scientifically and logically. As a result, I get agitated when people do things based on personal feelings rather than facts or science. I often don't experience the same feelings as others around me, whether I'm not as emotional as they are or I care way more about it than others. The main barriers I encountered were meeting people, as well as not getting too worked up about things that would cause me to be distracted from life. I also have a hard time adjusting to sudden changes in plans, especially if it's something I've been looking forward to and have to give up. I have practiced being flexible and adapting to changes on the fly for a good chunk of my life. In elementary school, I took some classes to improve my social skills, where I interacted with both autistic and non-autistic kids. I've seen doctors and even tried medication, but those methods haven't helped as much. The in-person social interaction seems to have been the best thing for helping me overcome my challenges. Knowing that I'll have to work with people throughout my life, I want to get better at social interaction so that I don't struggle too much as an adult in my job. I've had an awkward time making friends, especially in elementary school, when I was younger and the kids around me were ignorant for the most part about my challenges. Once I arrived at MLC, I realized that most of the people there had some challenge where they felt like an outsider in a regular school setting, just like I had. Because MLC is an alternative school that requires a special application, and people come from all over Portland rather than just one neighborhood, there's a lot more diversity, on the top of the fact that everybody has their own reason for wanting to go there. It's a very accepting environment, and I don't have to worry too much about what anyone else thinks. Each year, I have made more friends, and actually, a good fraction of them don't even have autism, but they do have other challenges/reasons why they came to MLC. Some have been a shoulder to cry on, while others have offered me lots of advice on how to navigate life and overcome my challenges. Another thing I have struggled with is approaching people when I want to make new friends. Because of my social awkwardness, I have a hard time starting conversations. However, if someone approaches me, and once I get to know them, I get more comfortable talking to them. And then not only is it not a challenge, but I actually look forward to seeing them each day. They invite me to lunch, do things with me after school, like ride transit and explore the city, take long walks, get great food, and so much more. In recent years, I have tried to ask them about their interests and try to incorporate both mine and theirs together so everyone can have a good time. I'm even working on approaching people myself, just to see if I can get better at it, because I want to practice and overcome as much as I can. Coming to MLC was one of the best things that ever happened to me, and who knows where I would be right now if I hadn't. It has helped me make friends who accept and understand me, taught me life skills, given me the chance to be in leadership roles, and provided an urban school setting with amazing field trips all over the place. Lots of traveling, like I love. I have learned so much about myself and overcome so much. It will be hard to leave MLC at first, but I know I can continue on and continue to grow. MLC got me started on my life, and I will never, ever forget it.